Good morning. Hi, welcome. I'm just going to wait couple minutes. Hello, Reina Janela. Hi. I hope you're taking your name right. Deprived join. Singh Pooja. I'm sending a request to Sharvari. Hi, Alison. I just sent request to Sharvari, so hopefully she can join us. Hello, good morning.
Hi, good morning. Oh my God.
I think we should start because we have a hard stop and I have to go to work, and I know you have a busy schedule ahead. So it's early morning where Sharvari is. She is in San Diego, close to San Diego.
Yeah.
So it's 7 a.m. in the morning, and my place is 9 a.m. So I'm so thankful that you are able to do this today. Just going to introduce our topic. First, hi, I'm Dr. Prachi. I'm a physical therapist practicing as a physical therapist for more than 15, 16 years. I've been working with women in different health conditions throughout my practice, but especially after becoming a mom and after having that first-hand experience myself in the healthcare system, uh, and what struggle I, as a healthcare provider myself, felt like the education wise and overall the treatment wise, what was lacking. And that made me passionate about starting Parental Bliss. And I love connecting with different moms and listening to their stories and empowering other moms to be and new moms. So here we are. So today's topic is kind of a Mother's Day series I'm having over this month. We last time we had a live with Allison, who shared her C-section birth story, how it eventually led to C-section. It was not planned for her. So today's topic is mainly C-section, and also how to manage your recovery, how to manage your healing during the unforeseen situations, which can happen with any one of us, and we are not prepared at all for that. So I want to introduce Sharvari. So Sharvari is going to share her story with us. She is a full-time IT professional, and she is mother of two. She has a brand new baby, which is now 2 months old, and both the deliveries were C-section. And Ranch is 3. He will turn
He'll
3,
al
right? He'll
yeah, he is 2 years
almost
and 8 months. Yeah.
2 years and 8 months. Yeah, he'll turn 3 in August, and she is living close to San Diego, and then basically uh, she's going to share all the situations what she faced during her pregnancy. And so let's start from the pregnancy phase. Would you like to add anything from your end before we get started with the topic?
Uh, Now, just saying hi to everyone, whoever is online, and hopefully this session will be helpful for you guys. I really
Yeah.
want to share my experience, just thinking that maybe it will help you, maybe it will help the new moms, just setting expectations because, things are always difficult and pregnancy is difficult and, pre and postpartum, everything with help or without help. But
Yes.
if you have a mindset to, conquer that situation, you have the right knowledge, it will be very helpful for you on that
So
journey.
let's so because it was a two deliveries and both were C-section. So let's actually focus on your second pregnancy, and if there are main things which you want to highlight from the first pregnancy also, of course. So how was your overall pregnancy the second time, and was there many difficult situations you had to deal with?
Uh, well, with both of my pregnancies, I did not have nausea, which is something a lot of women have,
Yeah.
and I could eat everything and anything. The major thing that I was dealing with was gestational diabetes, which is a diabetes that gets detected during the pregnancy. So that was a major part of me dealing with it, and like having diet and exercise around it, which during the pregnancy is quite difficult because we have so many hunger pangs, and we like to eat a lot and things like that. So I think that was a major difficult part of that. In my first pregnancy, I was able to manage that with diet and exercise because that was my first pregnancy. I did not have a toddler running around. I did
Yeah.
not have anyone else to take care of. It was just me and my baby, and Rahul would take care of the house. But in my second pregnancy, I had a toddler running around, so it was taking care of me, baby, and a toddler. At that age, they are not quite understanding. So that part was difficult, and that's why I think I had to. My diabetes was not in control anyway, with or without diet. I was taking insulin suggested by the doctors. That wasn't making my sugars low in the morning because the most important part of gestational diabetes is yes, you need to have your sugars after meal to be controlled, but the fasting sugars are most important. And if that doesn't come down, then that's going to affect the baby some way. Um, but
That's very true. I want to highlight one thing which you are missing out is during first pregnancy, there was a pandemic going on.
oh
So
yeah.
that was a major highlight. And of course, nobody was aware about how to deal with it. And there was so much anxiety. So I think first pregnancy, uh, gestational diabetes is also very closely related to stress levels. So if your stress levels are high,
Right.
you can very well develop gestational diabetes. Sharvari had to be, she had her first pregnancy phase during the pandemic. So it was a big deal to even take care of mentally yourself, even though you did not have a toddler running around. So,
Yeah,
uh,
yeah,
th-
true.
so both the situations, did you had, of course, everyone makes a birth plan. Did you had a set as a C-section plan from the beginning for both of your deliveries?
So for my first one, of course, was not thinking that I'm going to go through a C-section. Not that I'm not the one who has a mindset of taboo, or I want to have a plan that I'm going to be going through natural delivery because that's the only ideal way. For me, it was just going with the flow because, as you said, it was pandemic, and so for me, the birth plan was whatever comes to, I'm gonna do that because just living in that situation was more important. So I think I did not have the mindset of what had to happen, but um, as you know, Ranch was a big baby. He was 9 pound 9 ounces, and so as we came close to delivery date, the doctor did suggest that I could go natural delivery or C-section, and this discussion was a week before my delivery, and she gave me the ups and downs of both, like how the recovery is going to be with C-section. If I go through natural with a big baby, what are going to be the problems? They might need to use a suction cup. He might get stuck at the shoulders. There might be a breach. It could be a 4-degree tear and all of that. So just considering all of those cons and pros, I took a personal decision of I want to go through a C-section because the chances of me going through C-section after natural, contractions and labor and everything, 90% I was going to be a C-section mom. So I just took that decision that time by myself, and it was good. I think that was the best decision in that situation. Um, and this time it was more because the first one I had gone through a C-section, so I knew how to deal with
Yeah.
it. But also, my second baby is also a big baby. So that also didn't give me a chance to think about natural delivery. Um,
So
and
they
not
had
a
already
lot
given
of
that
people
option for
know.
the second time also as
Yeah,
well.
and not a lot of people know that you have a chance of natural delivery if you had for C-section. I think everyone just considers, oh, the first pregnancy was C-section, so the next one will be. There are
Yeah,
higher chances that it will be, but you have an option to go natural. If only Shira was a little baby, I would have.
yeah. I have a family who that first delivery was C-section, but second was a natural. So
Yeah.
I mean, not natural, vaginal. I should use vaginal term. Yes, I don't like that myself. But yeah, it's all depends on the situation. There is no fixed protocol like first C-section, then second C-section, or anything like that. So that is really good that you don't want to have a set box
Yeah.
for then this is the only option you have. So then let's talk about the day for your second baby. So how it started. So you had an option of natural or C-section based on that situation or that day. So what things happened?
So, well, I was scheduled for 24th at like 12 p.m. Um, and I've been up on my feet a lot. You have seen me doing a lot of stuff. I'm not someone who can sit around and, just enjoy my pregnancy. I have to do a lot of things at once. The week of 20th to the week of 24th, that was Friday, I lost my mucus plug. And that was for me a bit alarming because, I wasn't planning to go in labor because I had a set expectation. I'm going to go on 24th and just do my C-section because that's what had happened for Ranj. So when I did lose my mucus plug, that gave me a sense that I'm gonna go in labor at any point, and that's not my plan. And that's always, nervousness. And that's when I was like, okay, if I have to go through contractions, I started preparing my mind. And 4 days, nothing happened. But on 23rd night, I after just had ramen. I was like, I'm gonna have ramen, and tomorrow morning, I'm gonna go and all of that. So I ordered my favorite food, and I started having contractions at 9, right after my dinner. So that was like, okay, well, I'm gonna see what happens because they tell you that the contractions start, it takes quite some time to reach the part where it's, a minute apart and things like that.
Yeah.
My contraction started 5 minutes apart, and that was just like, go, go, go to the hospital. Um, and so Ranch was put to sleep. So that was good. But then, as soon as a lot of things started happening in the house, like, Rahul running around to get, we had packed everything, but, everything just gets escalated. So I'm changing, he's changing. So I think Ranch sensed it and he woke up and he realized that we are leaving in middle of the night. So for a toddler to understand that was difficult. We had to just leave him with our, we took our bags and left. We didn't know if we're gonna spend the whole night there and what was gonna happen about the scheduled C-section. So we reached there and they do the monitoring and all of that to see how my contractions are going and all of that. And they were pretty intense, 5 minutes apart, and then it kept on decreasing. But the problem was I wasn't dilated in any way, not even a centimeter. So they said that we have time and we'll see how it goes. And you already have a C-section. And I was like, I need to just have a C-section, like whatever it is. I know that I cannot go through this and then have C-section. And so my doctor knew that it's a big baby, so we have to deal with that. And so the scheduled C-section turned into an emergency C-section. But then, because I had had a big meal, they couldn't operate on me as soon as
Oh,
possible. So the first hour they could operate was morning, 7 a.m. And because I was not dilating, it wasn't an emergency in terms of medical team. So I had to bear the contractions. all night. They were 5 minutes apart, and I was not able to get any sleep. It was horrible. Rahul was sleeping on the couch, and because he had to rest for the next day, but I was just like, ah, you need to get up and help me. um, so that was that. But then at home, it was worse because my mom was with Ranch, and Ranch was crying his eyes out with the toddler doing that. It's like screaming and don't touch me and no, and all of that. So my mom was not able to calm him down.
Oh
I
my.
and Rahul were having conversations like, does Rahul have to go back to the home, to the house, and just be with him and all of that. With that contraction, I did a video call. I sung a song for him.
Aw.
All of that. And he's just like, Mama, I want you here. All of that was happening. So it was quite a night. Like, it was
Yes.
just, and then next day morning, the doctor came at 7, and then they started like taking me in and explaining and giving, you know, information of what's going to happen and all of that. And the nurses coming in and being so sweet and, my love, you'll be doing great, and you're a great mom. You just all of that was happening, and I was just like, I had gone through 10 hours of labor. Just take me and get this baby out.
Get this baby out. Exactly.
So yeah, that was up
So you
until.
correct. So that is up until they took you for. So you are basically, it was may or may not be needing C-section. So let's try for the natural vaginal delivery. But when you reach there, because of the, again, situation dependent, which is really good, they decided, okay, we need to go for C-section, but you had to bear through all the labor hours because you had
Yeah.
no need, and then they could take you only at 7 a.m. And then you had to deal with a toddler at home, crying toddler at home, and bear through all this labor pain, which you couldn't escape this time. So yeah, so there are two types of C-section: planned and unplanned. Unplanned is, of course, it can get into this kind of situation, but not always it's going to be emergency C-section. So that's one thing. uh, for the second time, I think you are a little bit better aware of the process, so that
Yeah.
might help a tiny bit, of course. Not huge, because
Yeah.
always there is something
I
else.
don't know. I think knowing things is more, it's
Nervous.
like, at least, yeah, because then I'm like, oh my God, they're gonna put something in my spine. Like, I knew how it felt. I
Yeah. Okay.
knew that, the epidural going through the fluid going through my spine, that sensation and
Yeah.
all of that. So, and amazingly, I was awake for both of my pregnancies pretty wide, and I am a very energetic person. So I'm talking with the doctors and nurses even on the table, and so I
Right.
remember each and every minute of it.
So, what was your experience during while C-section happening? Did you had still sensation that they are putting their fingers in and getting the baby out?
So I could feel the tugging and pulling, like when they literally pull apart. I did feel that the baby was out because both of my babies were almost 10 pounds. And so I felt that they are out, and I was just like, whoa, there's so much space for my, heart to breathe. And so, yes, I could sense all of that. With my first one, I was pretty calm, just because, I didn't have to go through all-nighter and all of that and bear the pain. But this one, I was pretty exhausted. I was still awake, and, but I was just like, please get it over with. And I felt like, everything is taking longer instead of
Yeah,
on the first one, because I didn't know how long it takes. I just felt like,
it
oh, he's
yeah,
out,
just happened.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Whereas both the surgeries took the same amount of time, but it just like how our mind plays with us.
Right. Yeah. So even in the C-section, just for everyone to know that you're not under general anesthesia, so you are awake. So
Yeah.
they usually put a kind of a transparent sheet, and you can actually make sure during you are discussing your birth plan with your doctor that, am I going to see it? I want the transparent sheet so I can see and interact what is going on. And they usually show the baby as soon as the baby is out by the transparent sheet. Also, you can tell them, I want to see the baby. And did you
Not
go
see the. So
say that again?
for me, I did opt for for my first one. I didn't know how amazing that feeling is to see the baby through that transparent sheet. So that was something that my doctor said that you could not see the surgery part, like you could have a blue sheet before, and then
Right.
as soon as the baby is out, we're gonna draw it down to see the baby, show the baby, and it was the most amazing feeling ever. So I knew I wanted to see
Yeah.
Shaira as soon as she was out here. So they did that. Yeah.
Correct. So I know next part is kind of hard part for you. I have talked to you in the past before, so I know. So you decide how much you want to share
Yeah.
and how much you feel comfortable. But basically, then what happened? So Shaira was delivered, C-section happened.
So once she was out, she cried, and it was all normal, nothing alarming, and all of that. But as soon as she was taken to a different table where they clean her up and wrap her around, and then they bring for the mama to do skin to skin. So on that table, they saw that she's not breathing as much oxygen, and her, skin is turning purple, which is a very dangerous thing. So at that point, they had her on the oxygen, and they were trying to get her breathe normal. Um, and it happened in like few under a minute, all of that.
Yeah.
So for me, I was lying on the table, and worst part is I had a cough and cold, which is, I would say, no before a C-section, because if you're coughing, all the cough comes into your throat, you're lying down, and that's something that could choke you, which is what happened with me. And I
Oh.
was just like gasping for air. I was talking to my anesthetist that I'm feeling, like I cannot breathe well because of this.
Mm.
And so he gave, some kind of medication that takes the nausea down and all of that. So with this C-section, I could feel everything. Like I had like a really bad fluid reflux that was coming up. Like that's how I felt. Maybe it wasn't that, but that's how I felt. And I had severe headache during that process. Like just for like, it was going in and out for a minute and then coming back and all of that. So that was happening with me. I was talking to the anesthetist, and this was happening with the baby, that she was not able to breathe. So it was quite dramatic. And then Rahul was just torn between like where should he help,
Yeah.
and I was just like, go with the baby, like what they need, whatever they need, just stay with them. I'm fine over here. And I just had to like, bring that willpower to be like, I'm going to be fine, just go and help the baby. It was difficult because I was not fine. I felt like I'm going to die on the table. I don't know why I felt that, but that's how I felt. I don't want to scare all the new moms. It's not that, deadly, but that was a feeling.
It was just
Which
different emotions because
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. And so when that happened, in my head, first, for a weird reason, I was not alarmed that she has to go to NICU. I was very calm in terms of I felt like she is going to be fine. Like I did not think the worst, which is good.
Yes.
So I was calm. I was calm for whatever was happening, and it was just like whatever you need, just give it to her. Like I trusted the medical associates over there, the doctors, the nurses, and everything. So they just took her. They did give me skin to skin for a few minutes. So I just told her that it's going to be okay, and you have to be strong, and you have to breathe. And that's what I said. And then they took her, and Rahul and her went to, the NICU and all of that. And I was on the table with them. They were stitching me. I did ask the doctor that is she going to be okay, and they said she'll be fine. It's a normal, this is quite common that this happens and all of that, which is the doctors do tell if it's a common situation or if it's not, it's something horrible.
Right.
But for any mom to hear that
It's
is not going to be
difficult.
easy. Yeah, it's difficult. So
Yeah.
I would say whoever is, is a new mom, and just be strong enough, because you have bared that child for 9 months, and you have taken care of the baby for 9 months. You're gonna be okay doing whatever comes to you. Um, because as they say, it's your and baby's birth, so you're going to be strong. So just keep that in mind.
Right. I think that is the most emotionally difficult part, to handle that unforeseen situation. Nobody thinks that way, that something is going to
Yeah,
happen.
and I
So
never
when
and I never prepared for it.
correct. So you're never prepared for it, that situation. So how now retrospectively looking at it, uh, and then C-section, it was not vaginal delivery, so C-section and this situation. So you are in the hospital 3 days total, or five?
We extended by one more because I wanted to spend more time with Shaira, thinking that she's gonna be discharged. So
By
it
the
was
time
four
you are
days. Hmm.
discharged. Yeah. Okay. So how did you, the major question is, how did you manage your recovery? I mean, during the hospital, at least you are not that far away, but once you are back home
Yeah.
and Shaira is still in the hospital, and how many days did she stay, or how many days afterwards she was discharged?
So she was there for 17 days, and I was discharged on the fourth day. Coming back to the recovery and meeting her in the NICU, even if it's in the same hospital, just
Yeah.
walking, to the bathroom from your bed, which is quite close, in the hospital. It's horrible after C-section. You need help, you are holding people, you're not able to stand straight, all your organs are like just hanging in your tummy because, because of carrying the baby for that long, everything is moved.
Yes.
Um, and all of a sudden you have to deal with that. With C-section, you also lose a lot of blood, as compared to natural delivery, and there's chances that you are like very fatigued, and the WBCs, RBCs, ions are low, so your body doesn't have that much energy. But then, given this situation, I was the one who was waiting to get out of that bed. So as like my delivery happened at 7:30, and after that, I remember for my first one, the doctor came to me and she's like, "You need to." Sorry, the nurse came to me at night and she's like, "You need to walk." And that was my delivery had happened 4:30 p.m. and I was walk. She came to me at 2 p.m. Um, to
2,
be to
2 p.m.
help me walk.
next day.
No, that night.
2
That night.
a.m. Okay.
Yeah, 2 a.m. Sorry, 2 a.m. That night. And I did not have nausea. I was like not dizzy and all of that. So she thought that it was good for me to walk. So I knew that experience, and I knew that walking is going to be good for me. But in this situation, I was dehydrated all night, previous night. And so the anesthesia kind of affected me quite a lot. And I had nausea this next day, all day long, even if I had sip of water or a cracker or like just a bit of cracker, nothing was keeping down. So the whole day I was just puking all over the place, and just, at night around, I think 2 p.m. or so, I was like, I need to walk because I need to go and see my baby. And by the time all the nausea was gone down and I had one good sleep, so I called the nurse. I was the one who called her and I said that I need to walk. I need to go see my baby. So that's when, she made me walk and all of that. And at that point, in my head, it was just like, as soon as I'm on my feet, I'm going to be seeing Shaira. So
Yeah.
I did not think of how much pain I had. I did not think of what's not working. How do I move, mobility? What should I hold? Nothing.
Yeah.
So, just the situation, I think, was different and difficult. So you kind of let go all of the things that might affect you in a normal situation.
Correct. So how did you manage recovering from C-section, which is, I mean, you had to do it. Again, just given the situation, if you are in a setting where you have a lot of family help available, that's different. Now you're in a situation, your mom is there to help, but then also you have a toddler, and
Yeah.
you are the only person who can drive, and even a father, even he's on paternity leave, there is limited amount. In US, the policies are very different and very stringent in some in situation of maternity or paternity leave. Unfortunately, hopefully that changes soon. But
Yeah.
so first, how I think 2 weeks he had
So for
paternity leave.
yeah, for 2 weeks he had paternity, and I had a 2 week appointment with my gynecologist because that's when they tell you if you can drive or not. I was on pain medication for like, in my first one, I didn't take much pain medication. I stuck to ibuprofen. But this one, for 14 days, I was on high pain medication because that's what was needed for me to function from just going 4 times to the hospital, being there, standing by her bed for at least, minimum 30 minutes every time we would go. And then rest of the time I would be sitting down, and she would be, if they were letting me hold her, having her, or just pumping and all of that. So all of those things were happening. I was given a green go on the second week to drive, so I was driving right away. Um, so if you ask me about my recovery, it's very way. I don't know when that happened. Yeah, that wasn't the focus, at least in my mind. For Rahul and my mom, it was definitely a focus that you need to eat right. You need to, take care of yourself so you can, take care of the baby,
Right.
and you can give her the milk that will help her get going faster and all of that. So with that, their thought process was different. But in my head, I don't think I got any recovery. I was, bare. I got like 1 hour sleep every afternoon, just with everything else, going back and forth, then coming back, having my shower, eating food. All of that would happen, and by the time it
Again,
was the
time.
next visit, yeah,
Yeah.
so I would get 1 hour of sleep, which was more than enough for me at some point.
Yeah. I think then the initial phases, overall sleep is important, but with the baby, usually it gets disrupted. I think the
Yeah.
night sleep, at least you were getting better.
Yeah, then so that was, I mean, I shouldn't say it was good, but the good part was during the NICU that she was with them, and at night I was getting that sleep that was needed.
Yeah.
Um, but we could call them. So Rahul would go at night initially by himself, and then just do a video call from there, and I would be home.
Right.
But then I started going with him, and then at 2 or 3 a.m., we would wake up when her feeding time was and call the doctor, call the nurses to see how she doing, and they would give every stats of like, did she poop, did she pee, what is she on, how much milk she drank, so everything. So it didn't really feel like she was away from us, which was good. And I'll tell you, if anyone goes through the NICU situation, trust the nurses and trust the doctor. And it's difficult because you're giving your heart out, but that's the most important part in all of this. And they are amazing. They are amazing. um,
Yeah.
if anyone
That's
could
really
have
good that
empathy,
help.
I think those are the people who would have empathy.
Yeah. So looking back, I know it was a lot of situations. So usual process of C-section, you come back home with the baby, you're dealing with your own pain, and the
Yeah.
C-section is a major abdominal surgery, and unfortunately it's not considered, and there is no structured plan given to new moms, like what she can do, what she cannot do. So did you had any kind of briefing done at the time of discharge, like what things you can do, what things should not be doing?
So with in my first one, I read quite a lot. So I was very proactive, asking questions in my first one. In my second one, I knew a little bit, and then I was just revising all those questions. So for me, I think the doctors do tell you if you ask them, because every time you go for that normal visit, they're going to say, do you have any questions? And most of the time women will be like, no, I don't, because you can't think of it. You are thinking about just seeing the heartbeat, seeing the baby on the monitor. You're just thinking about that. You're not thinking about what questions to ask. But after a couple of visits, I would write down the questions and take it to her and ask her. So I would really tell the new moms, whoever is pregnant, second time, first time, whatever, just go with questions. That's going to help you, because the doctors have like thousands of people coming in and out. They are not focused on what needs to be told. Their main focus is, are you healthy? The baby is healthy, all good. So it's also our responsibility to be proactive
Yeah,
about that. In terms of what should be done, what shouldn't be done, I knew I cannot lift heavy. My driving skills are going to be impaired until 2 weeks. I need to, take it slow and all of that. But again, things were happening different in our situation, so I had to be on my feet quite a lot. And just like not having the incision, like checking it if it's not bleeding, is there no in the incision does not need to be
not.
any infection, or like wet for a long time, or you cannot soak in the bath for a long time, things like that.
Yeah, you can take shower, but you can't soak in the bathtub.
Yeah,
So that's a main thing. You of course can take a shower from
yeah,
next day onwards. You have to make sure that you're not soaking yourself, so that the incision is not in the water. So that's why the uh, jacuzzi and all that is also not
yeah.
advisable, or soaking in the is not advisable. So looking back,
And you're not supposed to pick anything that is heavier than 10 pounds or heavier. And my babies are 10
10.
pounds. So for when the nurse was telling me, she's like, you know what, no worries. It's 11 pounds for you. Like anything other than the baby, do not pick.
Right. And then of course you have to, between you and your husband partner, you have to make sure that you are not lifting, so people can just hand over the baby
Yeah,
to you, so you're not the
yeah.
heavy lifting part, so you're sitting comfortable, you are in a comfortable position, and people, whoever is helping you around, can give you the baby, so you're not doing lifting part by yourself.
For
So
I mean, it really depends on how the moms take it, I think. For me, I always pick my own, baby if I needed to. The only part I would avoid was, walking to the crib, and if I'm sleeping, I would just be like, hey, can you give it to me? But I was, like I said, proactive with the babies as well.
I mean,
But also depends on
ideally,
how physically active you are before or during the
yes.
pregnancy. And I was lifting heavy weights for before both of my pregnancies. So I think that really helps.
Correct. And that's why exercise or overall well-being of a mother is important,
Yeah.
starting from preconception phase. So you are exercising well before you start your pregnancy. You clean out if you are not following the lifestyle habits or routine, kind of start preparing your body. And then during the pregnancy also, you are exercising. So you are preparing your body, because it's the thing is that the body's most weakest point after your delivery, but you need the most energy and the most strength after your delivery,
Yeah.
whether it is C-section or vaginal birth. It's mainly C-section is because it's a major abdominal surgery, just turning in the bed, getting out of bed, going, as you described, going to the restroom. Everything is going to be painful for first few weeks, for 4 weeks for sure, and you can take help of the pain medicines. So looking back, do you think how you could have prepared yourself more, or you did prepare yourself more? How did you do? What did you do for preparation wise for the recovery phase?
Yeah. For worst part, or the good part with the pandemic, was I had a lot of time on my hand to read because I was not socializing. So I prepared a lot. And because everyone was trying to strive for their life, it was like, I'm pregnant and I don't want to be that person who's gonna be the last living with a baby, like in the movies. So I read a lot. I read a lot. So I was prepared then for, and we had the next baby so close up, the gap is so small that I do remember quite a lot of things that prepared me. And just living healthy before you start a family for at least 2 years, and eating healthy, sleeping on time, it really helps for your fertility health as well, because as we know, a lot of the generation that we are in have are not as fertile, or maybe they are fertile, but the things are not happening as fast as they would in the olden days. So you have to make sure that your lifestyle is good, you're eating healthy, you and your partner are talking about it, you are going to the gynecologist annually, um, and both of you need to get your fertility test done. If you think that you're going to wait for 5 years because you have to do, you have to chase your career, you have to do certain things before you reach that phase of having a baby, I would say get informed about your health, because even if you have any issues, you can work through it. You can make your mind for different options that you can go through, yeah, and not just um, the
Yeah, don't wait
natural
till the last
way
minute
of,
and
yeah,
then again postpone that
because
phase because it's
it's
going to
only
add
going to
more
get
years.
difficult
Correct.
if it
And as the age progresses, again, that is in completely contradictory situation. The woman's age and career and having a baby, everything has to be ideally at certain
yeah,
age, which can cause issue when you're trying to get pregnant towards the later, like late 30s and
yeah.
situation like that. So, anything you did give such a good advices, like prepare from early on, don't wait till the last minute. If you are even if 5 years down the line, prepare your body and start to clean out whenever you are thinking you're getting ready for that. Anything in terms of now Shara came back home. After that, things little bit got better because you're not having to go to back and forth to the hospital. So during that phase, how did you start taking care of overall? And then also, sorry, one more question is, how did you manage your like mental health, because there is so much stress going on? So which is
Yeah.
very important. Uh, for what did you do different than the first time?
So this time, obviously, I had to reset my expectations of I'm not gonna be coming home with my baby. That's the most difficult part in all of this, because you're carrying this baby and you're thinking about how you're gonna be like bringing them home, and decorating the house, and everyone is happy and all of that, and then all of a sudden you cannot do that. So that one extra day that I stayed in the hospital, I think I was just preparing my mind that I need to go home, but what's my plan? Like, how am I going to be connected with my baby and I'm going to be okay? So for me, that was setting my mind to, I'm going to at least visit her twice. That's where I started from. Like, I'm gonna go twice because I know that I need to be healthy. I had just had a surgery, so if I'm not there, um, health wise, Rahul is going to be torn between, again, my health, her health. It's at that point you don't want to be the problem. You want to reduce the
Correct.
problems that you have in your life. So you just have to buck up and just be like, okay, these are the minimum things that you can do, and let's set a expectation. If you can do more, great. You're going to be happy about that. So just lowering that bar for yourself and not being critical about it is going to take off a lot of stress from you. I'll tell you, I was very stressed because for the 14 days she was, for the 17th day she was not there. The 10 days I had pain from my spine, my shoulders. Both of my shoulders felt like heavy and they were tensed, and it was that kind of stress that it affects your muscles.
Yeah.
So I was just taking pain medications. I was just trying to do that. But in terms of managing my own emotional well-being, I started vlogging. I didn't post anywhere, but I have vlogs of how I felt. And in my first one, I had severe postpartum depression where I had panic attacks, where I had to take medication. So I had read about that as well because of the pandemic and everyone going through a lot of stress. Um, so at that time, I was writing in the notes. On your iPhone, you have a notes app, you can write over there. And at night, whenever I used to feel, I would write in it. And at that point, all the things that I wrote was how Rahul is not helping, how things are bothering me, how someone said something to me. It was very stupid, but it did,
It's
affect a
kind of
lot.
journaling your emotions. Yeah.
Yeah. But this time it was more towards how Shaira was doing, how her recovery is, how I feel, how I'm trying to keep it calm, and all of that. So that was a different way of journaling it. So I was vlogging it because I wanted to have that vlog for people who might go through this. No one thinks about it. No one told me. I have not met a family who has gone through a NICU situation. So I haven't seen a mom who would tell me, please prepare for this. And no one does. And even after I
Yeah, we
posted
don't
things,
want to think
we
about the
don't
worst
want to think
situation.
about the
Exactly.
worst. Everyone is going to be like, only thinking about the good parts. But after I posted, a lot of moms reached out to me and said, and the moms that I knew, they came out to me and said that I went through this, and just trust the doctors, and that helped me. So for me, I'm like, why aren't people talking about this? Like, I know it's very emotional. Like, even now, I feel like if I talk about her being in NICU, I feel like I'm trying to control my eyes, running out. but but I'm just thinking that if only I had known that this could happen, I could prepare myself, because the first week of her life in the NICU, it was more like, okay, she needs this and she'll be fine. She's going to be home the first week. The first week she was on the CPAP machine, and, a lot of glucose, because she was hyperglycemic, which is low sugars. So her dextrose that they were giving were level 20s, and which has to be zero. So it was quite a lot of things that were happening with her. And we were just like, okay, yeah, we'll do this, we'll do that. And we were just like nodding along,
Yeah.
not knowing what's going to happen. The next week, though, was the most difficult part, because that point we were like, we don't know when our baby is going to be back. And like in India, you can, switch doctors, you can take second opinions, you can move your baby to another place, because, your chacha, mama, mami, whoever is a doctor can take care of them and you have family. Here, it's not like that. Once you are in a hospital, you have, there's more bureaucratic things that are gonna happen than you think. There are social workers who are there, who see how the parents are, like, they are passively looking how things are going. But if they see something is not how they want it, it's going to be a more difficult situation for you. Things like that. No one really talks about it. The doctors keep on changing every 3 days. So the course of work that one doctor gives might not be the same as the second one. And just knowing that it's okay and that's the normal norm over here would have helped. But for us, we were just, the second week was just, I was crying like every other minute of that week. Like, anyone would
Because the
talk to me, I would just cry. Like, I don't know what's going to happen with my baby.
Yeah. So I
So,
think
yeah.
journaling every night, as you said, that really helped to get your emotions out and looking at the positive side of it. And as you said, that was a really, again, great advice, and uh, kind of uh, setting your expectations at the lowest and then try to stick to that. So you are also focusing on your healing, because I think in general, women, uh, most of the women, I should say, that
Don't take care
they
of.
don't focus
Yeah.
on their health. Of course, once the baby's out, everyone's focus of attention is on the baby's recovery, how is baby doing, which is good. But at the same time, mother needs really good support and support system and healing time. In traditional Chinese medicine, or also in Ayurvedic medicine, which is a age-old medical system from India, which is more than 5,000 years ago. It's like first 40 days. It's really strict protocol, like women should not step out of the house and things like that, and how they can take care of themselves and
Yeah.
how the whole family can take care of themselves. But now we have to bring that into modern age, and then see how, where are we, of course, where do you live, and what is support system you have, and based on that accordingly you can adjust the situation. So I think just taking what support system you have, what is the best thing we can do in this situation, setting the expectation low, and then, because when you set expectation high, of course you fail at it, and then
You're gonna
that
keep
stress level
on
increases the
beating
stress
yourself.
anymore.
Yeah.
Correct. Yes. So really amazing. Love all the advices you gave for the moms to be and new moms. So I would highly recommend everyone. Please, she has made a video vlog for all her journey of the initial few days, just from the pure intention of, so that you, in case you can prepare for yourself worst situation also. Of course, you don't want to expect that should happen to you, but if you are prepared mentally, and if this happen, okay, this is the process, you are able to react and take actions very well, in a much better thinking process wise, and you're not kind of struggling that situation, what is going to happen and what the system this looks like. So definitely please have a look at it, watch those videos. It's on the YouTube,
Yeah,
correct?
it's on YouTube, and
And
then some of the snippets are also on my Instagram.
yeah,
So
and then Sharvari is a amazing blogger. She also blogs about beauty, fashion, as well as she's a really artist, because she does so many DIY projects, gardening and
oh,
things as
the
well.
stress management during the NICU. So you came and visited us, so you know how our front yard is. And if I send you pictures right now, your mind will be blown. So the day, I think the first week, on the fourth day, I was talking to Rahul. I'm like, I think this is going to take a long time, that she being in NICU, and just the fourth day of it, talking about her, talking about her stats, going back and forth, running along with toddler and all of that was stressful. So I'm like, should we just start doing little things in the garden to just take our mind
Mind
off?
off.
And this was me, I think, sixth day of my postpartum recovery. And I knew I couldn't do much, but I just wanted to like just do something else and focus somewhere
Outside in the
else.
nature and just being with the plant.
Yeah. So
Yes.
we started doing our gardening project, the DIY project, the 6 day Shara was in, and we've been doing that for last 2 months. And I think it has helped tons. Well, with our property value, with the garden looking really good, but with our mental health, it has helped so much, because the body keeps like, when you are in a stressful situation where you cannot do anything, which is the NICU situation, your body is always trying to exert extra energy. Whatever the cortisol or whatever
Cortisol levels
yeah,
are high. Yes.
they are high, and for them to be lower, you need to exert it somewhere. You need to have that physical energy, and if you don't have that, you will have sore muscles, and that's what I was talking about. Like, I had my shoulders so sore that it was tough. So you have to do something physically engaging to reduce that stress. So just,
Yeah.
yeah,
That
didn't
is,
want to cut
yeah, that
you,
is
but
again, yeah. So find your basically way out, how you can get that stress level out. It can be either journaling, it
anything.
can be gardening if you love gardening, if you like to do painting. So find your thing, find your task or whatever activity you like to do, and you can that can be your medium of getting that stress out. So please follow the content what she's sharing, so that right now she's sharing real motherhood, what is going on and how did she deal with this situation, and now later on with her recovery as well. And I'm going to save this live, so if you did not get a chance to attend the whole live, so you can watch it later in parts as well. So yeah, thank you so much, Sharvari. It was really good. And thank you so much for taking time out. I know you have a really busy schedule in the morning, and we made it work. So I'm really happy we both made it work in a
I am
way.
happy that we did this because I think this is going to be helpful. And I would tell all my followers to follow you because you are giving really good advice for postpartum recovery and, um, all the physical therapy that we don't talk about. And so that's going to be helpful.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you everyone who could join us, and have a wonderful day ahead. Bye.
Bye. Bye.